Kalimera, everyone. Tailenikamu, Deneko Polikala, so I will continue in English. Sorry for that. I have learned a lot in Greece over the last 3 years that I've been here. And after working in 20 countries, I recognize a lot of your debates, like the complaints about corruption, which is prevalent in many countries, not only Greece, especially in Eastern Europe, it was like this. And when you say that politicians are not acting and laws are not going fast enough, believe me, it does take time in other countries as well. So don't be discouraged. It can work. You just need to work a little bit more together and believe you can change. You have a famous Greek writer who actually said that. And now I see if I can pronounce it correctly. Nikos Hatsi... he wrote Sorba the Greek, right? Okay. Might be several Sorba the Greeks. But anyway, he said, before you can change, you need to believe you can change. Now, I'm a little bit here to talk to you about that. We think Greek can change. We think it has changed a lot. So, and you are part of a changing world. And that, I think, is one of the biggest points that I will make, that I've been 3 years in Greece. I had a different perception of Greece before I came here. Now I know a lot more about Greeks. I'm not here as a tourist anymore. And that means that my observations are probably a little bit more qualitative than what they was when my only experience was from Crete and a glass in a taverna. Talking about that is also about a little bit about knowledge. Before I moved to Greece, I thought Greek wine was the worst in the world. You get this terrible wine in a taverna, which is watered out with water, and then you go to Greece and you learn about Biblia Hora, you learn about Alpha, Ketima, all of these things, and say, where is this wine? Where can I get it? And you cannot buy it outside Greece, at least not in any of the countries that I've been. And then I'm thinking, why not? Then I know that you have feta, okay? But in my countries, the feta we get is Danish. It's not Greek. And I don't know why, but I mean, I know you have a patent on the name feta, but now I can't get your goods. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for Greece to get their act together and tell us more about the beauties that you have down here. And you can also tell us a little bit about how to modernize things. The banking evolution has hit Greece, but not over so many years. It's actually a pretty short time period, maybe 30 years, that the whole thing has grown fast from the very old branches in the villages and everywhere and on to the more modern things. The upper line represents a little bit of the old history, and the lower one is now from all the modern technologies we have all the way through to mobile payments, which you actually have in Greece. And I have to compliment Greek banks on that. You are one of the few countries who have commercialized it. Not many have, and still under austerity measures, you have been willing to do that. Now, why should you do that? It's because we need to modernize the way we interact with our clients as well. Has it really changed? Well, this is the cues that I see in banks in Greece. Now, one is from the crisis, I agree, so I'll give you that point immediately. The other one is actually from paying taxes. And that's very interesting for me, that people are actually so willing to pay taxes in Greece, they're queuing up to do it. That wouldn't happen in Norway, where I come from, but we would pay on internet. All of us would pay on internet. Even my old mother pays on internet, and she's 91. But she didn't start yesterday. She started 25 years ago doing that. So I think in Greek banking, you need to give yourself a little bit some time to get to where you want to go. But let me see now, how many of you paid your taxes online this year? You didn't? Well, the majority paid them online. But how many of you have been in this queue in the last month? Well, you work in the bank, so you shouldn't, right? But have you been there? I think your Greek clients must love the banks because they're queuing to get in, and you must love your clients because when you're inside, you have trouble getting out again with your door locks and all this system. And why is that? What are you going to rob in the bank? It's cash, right? So you're back to the cash society again. Why do you have these doors? They can't get in and get an advice. And if somebody comes with a baby cart, you're stuck for 2 hours. You can't get in, you can't get out. Okay, if that's service, then great for me, but I'll prefer internet. So how can we change this? Well, you need to start with cash, that's for sure. And cash, by the way, is not free of charge. You know that. The European Commission has calculated that cash has more or less a cost of 7% of GDP. I don't know what it is in Greece, because you don't count it, but if you think about all the cash that you give in a supermarket, and then you think about how many people have to count it in the evening, then G4S has to drive it to the bank, then G4S, they count it again, then G4S drives the money back to the 3 or 4 ATMs that is out the supermarket. If this is cheap handling of goods, I think you actually pay for this in the goods that you buy in the store. I don't think this makes you cheaper goods. So this is a little bit about the tolls. Cash is a big problem in the Greek society, and it is in many other countries as well. And there are ways you can do something about it. I will get back to that. I have some suggestions for you from the Ministry of Finance. They're very radical. You might not like them, but I will tell you anyway. So how have the banks changed? How have the markets changed in Greece? Well, think about this. When I came to Greece, you had 27 banks in Greece. 27. So what happened? During 1 year, you ended up with 7. 4 systemic banks, 3 other ones, 1 international, and then this is the scenario we're facing now. Now, the interesting thing is that, did the Greeks consolidate? The people, the businesses? No, they didn't, right? So who are you competing for now? We have 4 banks, 4 systemic, 3 smaller ones. So who are they competing for? Who do you want as a client? Well, you have what you have. Client loyalty in Greece today is probably because you can't get out, right? It's NPLs, it's called. But the interesting thing is that 10 years from now, the couple in the middle here is probably dead. Now, how many of your clients are dead in the next 10 years? That's one question. The group to the left in the corner here, they're most likely unemployed. 10 years down the road, what is their relationship to a bank? The relationship is probably bigger to our colleague from the Mobile Phone Association, because even if they're broke, unemployed, and anything, they do have a mobile phone, at least one. So how are we going to plan for this? Now, Marinos, who has the supermarket, the little mini market down on the corner, which I find great because they're open until 11 o'clock in the evening, and they're open on Sunday, so I can buy goods there. Then, if he didn't get credit to buy goods for next week, for the last 3, 4, 5 years, now why would he be loyal to your bank 5 to 10 years down the road? And this passes on to the next generation as well. If your father can't get the loan and we can't get what we need, and I can't get loan for my study, I can't do anything, why would I be loyal to a bank? Now, I'm not saying blaming the Greek banks for all of this. I know you're under a very tight regime, the austerity measures, all of this. There is no credit available, but it poses a different competitive situation. These people in the left corner are digital natives. The one in the middle is digitally dead. So which means that what your future for the digital banking is up in the left corner. Those are the ones that you're going to live on for the next 20, 25 years, unless they move to Germany or to the US, because you won't see them again. But let's hope they come back and help you build a society. And if they do, how are you going to bank with them? What are you going to offer them? They don't want to stay in a queue in a bank branch to get in there. They're all on the mobile. So how are we going to address them? How are we going to compete? More about the Greek society. And statistics in Greece is a very interesting exercise. And I don't know if you can believe any of it, especially because of the cash society. But you have 11 million people officially, not counting all the visitors on any corner of the Athens streets. But you have 13 million cards, still. Well, that's more than one card per person. But you only have 4.8 million economically active, as we call it. Means they have a work, they are investing or doing something like that. So at least all of your clients are not only banking with you. They are banking with some other bank as well. So the competition is already there. So how are you going to address this? Back to who we're competing for. Now, more scrutiny. In addition to your wonderful austerity measures, then you also have the European Commission looking in all the payments areas. So they are doing two things these days. It's mobile phone companies, it's the roaming charges, which has been going on for 5-7 years, and it's the charges that Visa and MasterCard gives. And they want it down because the purpose of the European market is the same price in every country, right? That's the point. It shouldn't cost you more to pay with the euro in Germany than it costs to pay in Greece. But with cards, it does. It's cross-border fees, it's intra-country fees, and several things like that. So the European Commission has said, we want it down. They put significant pressure on Visa. So from January 15, Visa cross-border transaction attracts an interchange of 0.2% and 0 for debit and 0.3 for credit. Now, what's the impact on that? The impact is that any of your big retailers can do a deal in Brussels, and they don't pay the Greek domestic interchange anymore. They pay the international interchange. Now, how long do you think it's going to go before MasterCard follows after? It will change. I'm sure that from January, you will get cross-border acquirers into Greece. Not for everyone, not for Marinos that I had up there, but maybe companies like Folly, Marinopoulos, like Aegean Airways, all these things. Because they save more than 0.5% on the card turnover in 1 year if they go with an international one. So if your turnover on cards is 10 million, 0.5% is a lot of money. And you know that, you're in banks. 0.5% is a lot of money, right? From January this year, you need to pay electronically in Greece if you spend more than 500 euro and you want to have it tax deductible. This is also an interesting thing. But you can do more there, Mr. Minister of Finance. You can make people have to pay more. You can, for instance, say that taking out cash more than 100 euro a day from the counter will cost you a big amount of money. 5 euro, 10 euro, 50 euro, I don't know. Because it doesn't work only with the carrot, it has to have a stick. I know that from my home country because we had this problem that people were taking cash. So what did we do? We said that any cash transaction at the counter of the bank will cost you 2 euro. If you do it at the ATM, it will cost you 0. Then everybody was queuing up at the ATM, and after a while, they preferred to pay electronically. Didn't go overnight. It took about 5 to 10 years before people adapted to it. But you can increase the fees. You can make people pay, make it attractive to do it electronically. But you don't need to give discounts for that. In e-commerce, maybe, but not in a bank. But you need to price what is manual services. So what we need to do, I think, all of us, is to change the Greek consumer's perception. It's a fantastic country, Greece, and it's maybe because of the weather, because it takes 1 hour, 45 minutes on average to have a coffee in Greece. But you have the highest rates of people who have never used the internet. 42%, according to the European Commission. And I'm not saying not using it, they've never used it. That's the European Commission saying that. What does that mean? It means that 40% of your people is computer illiterate regarding internet. And then the question is, who are those? I actually don't know that, the answer to that, but I would assume it's more elderly people and it's younger people. And that means, again, that these people will go away, but you still have a large way to go. Now, how do they pay? Well, Greece really stands out. It's only Bulgaria in the EU that does fewer card transactions a year than you do in Greece. you do less than 50 electronic transactions a year per inhabitant, compared to 200 in average in Europe. You do 7 card transactions every year in average per inhabitant. Now you see some big columns up there, like 230 and 224. That's Sweden and Denmark. If you had put Norway there, we are at 244. It didn't come overnight, I'm saying that, but it does come when you start stimulating it. And people don't really want to do all the things manually because you don't have time for that. If you go to Denmark, to Sweden, or to Norway, you will have difficulty finding a bank branch that carries cash. They simply don't have it. In Oslo, there are 4 branches of my bank where I can get cash. And if I want cash more than 500 euro, I need to order it 2 days before. You just can't get it. But you can get a loan, you can get advisory, financial services, and so on. You can get all that, but no cash. Why don't people have a card? Well, we asked the Greeks, why don't you have a card? We interviewed more than 1,000 people, and the answer is they say, I don't need it. Okay, if you don't need it, I understand that. But why don't you make them need it? If cash has a price and cards don't, the answer is very simple. So you need to make them do that. They think that cash gives you better control. I think it's only Greeks that thinks that, because in all other countries they know that the money you have in the pocket is much more easy to spend than the money you have in your bank account. That's particularly true for men in the evening and for ladies in a shopping mall. And I'm not being sexist when I say that, because I can prove it. Ladies spend a lot more in shopping malls than men do. But why do people have a card if they choose one? Well, they say exactly the same as the other ones. Used as excuse not to have it, they say, I don't have to carry cash. So maybe it's about trust. It's about a little bit that I feel more safe if I don't need to carry cash. And it's much more better to have that. The interesting thing with this one is that at the bottom here you will see, does it work to give the people rewards? It says it doesn't. I can't prove that, because I know the Greek banks have good loyalty schemes, but the people we are interviewing, maybe we hit the wrong audience, they said, don't care about the reward scheme. So either they don't work properly, they don't incentivize the client enough, and I'm thinking about loyalty when for instance, I was in one of the supermarkets yesterday, and I got this ticket, and the lady was trying to say something to me in Greek, and she underlined it with a pen, and she gave it to me. So I asked at the office, what is this? And they said, now you have 300 points, and that means that you're eligible for 3 euro. 3 euro. I know another scheme which will give me for 2,000 points 5 euro in Hondos. It's really not tilting me to go and buy something else. I mean, 5 euro, that's what I pay for parking. I know you don't pay for parking, you drive around for 2 hours. But I pay for parking. 5 euro for 1 hour is cheap compared to my country. Where does people use the card? Well, they use them mostly in the physical area, except for prepaid cards. Prepaid cards are to the largest extent used for online gambling in Greece. That's what they tell us. They take a prepaid card and they use it for gambling. Okay, then maybe you control your expenses because you know what you have on the card, and that's what you can gamble for. In other countries, we use prepaid cards to give money to our sons and our daughters so they don't spend it on something else than what I want them to spend it for. What do they buy? Well, there's no surprise that physical stores, it's apparel, clothing and belts and all of these things, footwear and cosmetics, and guess who are the biggest shopper there? For credit cards, it's ladies, for debit cards, it's men, for some reason. But they use it across the board here, but you can see, like you mentioned here, that it's increasing for the electronic channels. It will be a lot more there. A lot of this can be paid, but I think people in Greece are no different from the other countries. They would like to see the goods before they pay. Well, there are solutions to that. Some pay in advance, some pay after. Both things will work. But then came our friends from Apple. And this rolled out last week in the US, Apple Pay, which basically is a new way of paying with a mobile phone. They rolled out with 200,000 retailers last week in the US. I have no idea when it's going to come to Europe. But we know a lot about this because it changes the way people behave. And then you need to think about something about Apple, which goes to your loyalty for a bank as well. Apple is not the biggest brand in the world. They're not the biggest operating system. They have 10% market share. Android has 44. So if you look at the totality, there's much more Android phones than there are Apple. But we also know that people don't switch from Apple very easily. They stay with Apple. They relate to the brand. They relate to what they do. They don't care if you can get an equally good phone, which is lighter, much cooler and so on, from Samsung or LG. They will still stay with a clumsy iPhone 4 if they can't afford a new one, like I do. But I also have a Samsung, so that's it. But the thing is that these things, the people, these guys have changed the world before. They changed it with the iPod, they changed it with the iPhone, they changed it with the iPad. Now you have Apple Pay. I can't tell you where it's going, but I'm sure these guys, again, will drive how people are shopping and how they're paying. And remember, the young people I showed earlier, they are digital natives. They are stuck with the phone. Go to any cafe in Greece and you will see two people on a date. And the funny thing, they don't talk to each other, they talk to someone else on their mobile phone. Wonderful dating. Different than when I was young, but okay, if it works, it works. So this is for paying, but you also need to sell. We need people like Greca to drive electronic commerce. We need retailers that participate, and we need probably something like this, which is the Apple POS. And we don't really know what it looks like, but why not? If you can sell 10 million mobile phones to consumers, can you sell 10 million point of sales to retailers? I'm sure you can. So if Apple starts driving that, then where does it leave you guys? Because don't forget one thing. This is all in the cloud. It doesn't require any relationship with the local Greek bank. The Apple phone doesn't. You can have a bank account wherever you want, and any point of sale can have the same. So they're changing the market, but they haven't invented the Apple POS yet, so you don't need to worry. We did that in First Data. It's called Clover. And this one we rolled out the last 6 months in the US, 25,000 stations. It's a complete package for the small and medium-sized retailer, inventory management, cash systems, and all the things you need, loyalty systems, all the applications. And if the Ministry of Finance wants, we can link it to you for VAT reporting. Maybe the retailers won't like that, but the Ministry of Finance would like that. And by the way, about all the electronics, it becomes VATable. You can't hide VAT when the transaction is electronic, which means that you will get more money in your state coffers, which means maybe your NVA bill will be a little bit less next year. So how can First Data help? Well, we can help by challenging you a little bit and ask you some questions, but we also are rolling out an array of new products in Greece. Pogo, we are going in piloting now. That is basically turning any mobile phone into a payment acceptance device. Now, when we roll this out, we hit a number of hurdles with Visa and MasterCard, but we are done with that now, so we are ready to put this out. Clover will be end of next year, because it takes us time to make it compliant with Greek accounting requirements and all of that. But it is a station for a retailer. It means your inventory management, it means your salary management, your shifts, everything is there, and it's all mobile. It's internet-based, it's clouded. E-couponing is simply something that we came up with because we were a little bit tired of all these €6 coupons that we're getting and counting. and I see how they do that in the store. So we thought we could make them electronic. And we've done that. So now we are working with retailers and integrating. So instead of coming with 6 paper coupons, you can come with your mobile, you go like this, and you redeem the coupons you have in there. Why do we do that? Well, it drives mobile commerce. We don't think that people necessarily will buy with a mobile phone if you still have to have paper coupons in your wallet or paper cash. But if everything sits here, and you can take out your wallet, whether you're man and wife, and say, do you have a small one or a big one? If you have all the discount cards of Alpha Vita, of Carrefour, or whatever it is, you would like to have one device. Because I guarantee you, you will not leave home without your mobile, but you're okay to go without your wallet. What more are we doing? Well, we think that we can teach people a little bit more, help people grow their business. So we are bringing in Cytix. Cytix is based initially on the card transactions. It will tell you how much you sold. It will tell you if you're growing. It will compare you with other shops in the neighboring area. It will tell you how a marketing campaign worked. And it will tell you what you can do, make recommendations and suggestions. Very simple, very easy. Also rolled out in the US, and we hope to get this to Greece next year, which I think we will. If you learn from that application that you are doing well on that goods, but not on this one, then you can introduce what we call Perka. This is basically a very simple loyalty system, similar to Starbucks, 1 coffee free on the 6th one, but it's based on mobile. So you have it on your mobile, and when you pass my shop, I can send you a message that I want you to come and get a free donut or something like that. That we can do. And then you have friends and you have family, so we have invented also digital gift cards. It's called Gift, and it's also going to roll out. These are some examples of what we have. I didn't put e-commerce here. You mentioned 3D Secure. There are many other options, and I think that in Greece, with all the local products you have in the area of food, wine, and all of this, and you have no idea how many people actually want Greek olive oil soap outside of Greece, then where do you find this? What is missing, I think, in Greece is a Greek Alibaba, where you can buy this. Because if I want to order food as a foreigner, I'm sorry, I don't speak Greek well enough. Some have English menus. If I want to buy goods, I'm sorry, I still don't speak Greek, and it's very difficult to find it. If I want to order wine, I found one that I can order from, but it's difficult for me. So if you're sitting in Germany or in Norway or in Sweden, and you remember this great wine that you had during the summer, where can I buy it? It's very difficult to find. I think we need all of us to work together, like Eurobank and a couple of others have done around Exportgate. We need to do some portals. That is where people go. And an interesting observation. I think Greece is the only country that if you go on visitgreece.com, you will not find one hotel, one ferry, or any ability to book anything. I don't know why, but every other country go to visit Norway, the first thing they will do is that, do you need a hotel? Do you want to go to Bergen? In Greece? I'm looking, can't find anything. And it's not because you don't want to, it's that we can just go and do it. It's not that difficult. We're happy to help you. Anytime you like, you can reach out to us. We will work with any of you to try to make this happen, to change the consumer perception and bring Greece a step forward. Thank you.
We have a question from the Twitter. They say it's very interesting, your research. Is it online at your site?
No.
No. It will not be.
They can contact us, and we will talk to them.
Okay. Please contact First Data. Thank you very much.